Hey, this is Animalist, and this is my opinion piece on mastering feedback, how to handle criticism, who and who not to get feedback from, and my story and how feedback helped me. So, first of all, who to get feedback from, and more importantly, who to not get feedback from. As always, these opinions are my own, nothing but my own, and there'll be some rambling as always. I'll probably go off on a tangent. I've tried to do this video about 50 times, and I go off on a tangent so bad that I can't remember what I'm actually talking about. So let's just summarize it, which is actually ironically turning it into a better video. So might be a bit of controversy in this section, but no malice is intended. It's just my opinions based on my past and me being a very honest, down-to-earth lad. That I feel like I'm in a privileged position. I've achieved what most people that are probably watching this want to achieve, which is professional sound, to be recognised. Had massive tracks played all around the world, not being braggadocious. That's all come to a crashing fall throughout my career, and it's been up and it's been down. And this first part is just about who to get feedback from. So you should get feedback from someone that is qualified to give feedback. So that's someone, in my opinion, that has achieved a professional sound, or someone that knows what professional music sounds like. So an A&R manager, maybe if you're lucky enough to be friends with, a good DJ that's, I guess I would say a professional. But even then, you have to be careful, because feedback can be subjective, and you might get feedback off one person, and then you might get it off a different person, and their feedback might be based around their opinion. So feedback in general can be difficult, but you can increase your chances of getting feedback that can help you by going to the right people. So that's who you should get feedback from. For me and my clients, obviously, I run feedback, and they get feedback twice a week, or if they do a VIP course, it's 5 days a week. And it's obviously incredible for them. You need someone who you can trust. Okay, who not to get feedback from. So again, this is where I believe the controversy may lie. I'm just going to say my honest opinions about it. But I remember growing up and being like 23, 24, 25 on Facebook, trying to make it as a trans producer, working full time, university, going to Ibiza, doing a season in Ibiza. And I was on Facebook, and I speak to like 10 or 15 people regularly. And this is how it would go. I'd work on a track, I'd get stuck, I'd go to Facebook, and I'd speak to these people. Out of all them people, most of them, looking back, were probably not the best people to be hanging around with. There was a lot of jealousy, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of bitching. And like most things in life, it's a scene that can be, I don't want to make it negative, but it can be full of negativity. That's just the honest truth. We'll put a positive spin on it, and I'll say I was very lucky to have a few key people. And we'll talk about my journey, and who helped me later, because I think that's important to spin it in a positive light. But you just want to be careful of the people you surround yourself in. My best recommendation, and what I did, was I removed every single post on Facebook, so I didn't see anything. Because even when I was seeing my friends' posts when they were doing well, it made me envious. I wasn't jealous. I was happy for them, but I was like, "Fuck, man, why aren't I getting that?" And that's a form of negativity. So I cut it out. Don't see it. What you can't see can't hurt you, right? So that's the first thing I did. And eventually I just stopped speaking to everyone, because I just found that, if people are saying things that they're saying to me about someone else, what are they saying about me to someone else? Did that make sense? But you get what I'm saying. I don't trust people that are backstabbers and shitting on people and they're negative. It's not a good place to be. Making music is meant to be fun. It's meant to be joyous. It comes from my heart. Unfortunately, it's raveled and tangled in so much negativity and jealousy and competition and fucking dick swinging. I was caught up in that for many years. Now I'm mature. I'm 37, not 27. You can look back in hindsight. But yeah, so just be very careful you get feedback from. Don't get feedback from fucking Bob down a pub on a Friday night who's your mate, because he's not going to tell you what you want to hear. If you just want to show some lads your track and say, "Lads, what do you think of this?" Fucking go for it. But don't expect critical feedback, and don't let it affect you. If one of your lad mates makes a joke and it makes you feel like, maybe he's trying to be a bit clever in front of some people, whatever. But just be careful who you get feedback from. And I know that it's exciting, and I know how desperate it is for feedback. Christ almighty. I used to bug everyone. I used to send it to professional producers. When I was 21, and I sent Simon Patterson like some fucking shit track, and he replied. And, me and Simon became good friends like many years later. But that was awesome, man. Like, what a cool thing. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So if you're going to ask for feedback, be cheeky and send it to someone that you might think might not give it you, because you never know what might happen. But yeah, just be really careful who you get feedback from, and just there's things that you've got to be careful about. Some people might not give you the honest feedback because they might be a bit like jealous, and again, you've got to surround yourself with the right people. I don't want to make this negative. I really hope that everyone who's watching this has got a solid 3 or 4, person friendship group. We're all like learning on a similar path and help each other out. And if you want to share, feedback with each other, of course, you're going to do that. But just, be careful of how you perceive feedback and don't let it get you down. Because I know that I did. I'm trying to help you learn from my experience. It's easy for me to say, go and get a tutor, get someone who can give you that positive feedback. But let's be honest with you, I could never afford a tutor. I never had a tutor. And I don't mind telling you that. Maybe that diminishes the fact that I'm a tutor now, because I've never had tutoring, but I applaud it. Is that applaud it? What's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember what I'm looking for. What word is it? I like the facts. I shout about the facts that I didn't have lessons. I don't hide from it, because you don't need lessons. Look, my job is a professional transfer producer and tutor. I make a living from teaching, but I would be the first person to tell you that you absolutely do not need lessons. Okay, as much as you might see my ads or anyone else's ads or anything, you don't need lessons. If you've got the resilience and the consistency, and you can dig fucking deep and never give up, like I didn't, and it took me 5 years of pure fucking anguish and hell and resentment and all sorts, then you go for it. Anyway, that's that for that part. On to the next one. So I want to just tell you a bit of a story with my clients and how it works. And this isn't a sales pitch, but I run a development course. I don't do one-to-one lessons. I'm about to actually fund them up on my website, opening them streams, them business streams. But for the longest time, I've not done them. Okay, I started doing them in 2014, did them for 2 or 3 years. Understood that if I want to really stand out as a tutor and do this full time and make a decent living from it, I had to create something special. I came up with a development course. Okay, it's ran by following 10 simple steps. It's ran via a PDF document, a very extensive PDF, and there's a detailed video for every step. Clients then get weekly feedback, and then they have their lessons every week, every month, every 2 weeks, and it's a never-ending cycle of learning. You don't move on to the next step until you've completed the current step. And the idea is that you finish a track in full with my approval every step of the way. I push you to the absolute max, and due to the plethora of videos, the community that I've got, clients are continuously learning, and we've gone on and had some incredible success. Last year, 2 clients signed to major labels, Armada and Pure Trance, and got Beatport #1s. Clients are signing to major labels every single month. It's incredible, and this is how it works. So we start a course, blah, 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 blah. Right, let's start to a track. So they get to a track, they do the structure, when they do the breakdown, they move to a drop, kick, sub, bass, acid, mid, percussion, build a drop to the outro, arrange everything, automate everything, move left to right, doing all the detailing, left to right, mixing down. When they send it me, as they have been doing every single step of the way, for approval before they move on. And then I give them some final criticism, try and get it as good as I can. I'll push them to the max. But there comes a point where they can't do anymore. They've done 2 rounds of feedback. They've done their absolute best. And you say to them, look, well done, fantastic. You fix this, you fix that. You say, when you give them a bit of negative feedback and say, but this isn't right, that's not right. But then a lot of the time, not always, you can't speak for everyone, but a lot of the time they cling on to the positive. So they'll say something like, okay, well, thanks for that negative feedback. Let's try and work on that. And then I can send it to Armada, right? Or FSOE. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen, because it's not. They've got good feedback and there's a lot of positives to take from that. But at the same time, they're not where they need to be. They've done as good as they can. We've got their track as good as we can, with the level that their ability is going to let them, their ears, their experience, and that's it. So a lot of clients, a lot of time clients are very disappointed by that, because I've told them that, well done, but that's it, ready to move on to the next track. So it's very easy for a client to be like, oh, well, you told me it was good enough. Like, what do you mean? And it's very difficult, but you need to remember that it is good enough for the level that you are at. You've reached your maximum capacity of what you can do. The only way, in my opinion and my experience, to get better is to move on to the next track. Okay, that's the only way you can do it. Something magical happens when you finish a track, you push to your absolute max. You either do it yourself or you've got a tutor, and you finish a track, you do your absolute best. You leave no stone unturned. You turn all your kicks into audio, you turn all your bass into audio, you get it all nice and tight. Little things like that tighten up the track. You make sure that if there's something that can be fixed, don't be lazy, go and fix it. You'll be shocked at how many clients send me their track and it's finished, and I'll pick up 5 or 6 things and they're like, oh yeah, forgot about that. And, I'm not dogging them, but this is why I've achieved what I've achieved, because I've got that ability to accept nothing but the absolute best that I can give. If I can't give everything to a track, then I'm not okay with that. And, that's just the way I work. Maybe other people aren't like that. Maybe there's some producers out there that know there's mistakes in the tracks and just don't care. And them tracks might have been gone on to sign to massive labels. Who knows? But yeah, just remember that, critique, it's essential. You're not going to get better without being critiqued. So you've got to find the positives in the negatives. So when a client comes to me and everything's happened that's happened, and he says to me, well, we're not sending it to Armada, because of this, you've got to find the positive. So what I do is I say, hey, look, don't be disheartened. Go back and listen to your last track. Now go and listen to 2 or 3 months ago. And then what I'll do is I'll say, your kick and bass are great. Your percussion is really good. The overall problem is, everything falls flat in the breakdown. You're just not able to get the leads big enough. And no matter how many times I try and show them, or I tell them, their ears just are not developed enough to hear what I'm hearing. So it's just a case of, you could give me £1 million to try and get them to where they need to be, and it's not possible. It's not physiologically possible. Their ears have just simply not developed enough yet. Anyway, that's my experience on it, and that's that's my opinion based on my past experience and teaching hundreds of clients over the years. But yeah, critique is essential. You've got to have a tough skin. And when you get negative feedback, you've got to find the positives. Of course, there's a lot of variables who you're getting your feedback from. Just be careful, obviously, like we talked in the last slide or whatever it was a couple of minutes ago. And just never give up. Okay, amateur to pro. My journey in how feedback changed everything for me. Positive feedback. So yeah. A little bit of a story. Been producing 4 years. Grew up listening to guitar music. Moved to Ibiza. Favorite band Queen. Brian May, my idol. Moved to Ibiza. Fell in love with trance. Came back. Started making music. And about 4 years in, I was in that situation where I'm on Facebook. 12 or 15 people. I'm trying to make music. I get stuck. I'm chatting. Lots of negativity. And then I went and did my final season in Ibiza. And then after that, I did a 6-week tour in America. And in my final season of the Beef, I'd been producing about 4.5 years. And I was working on my track Napalm Poet, I'd been working on for like 2.5 years, 2 or 3/4 years or something like that. And I decided to quit. I had enough of it, and I didn't listen to trance for like the next 5 weeks. I had 6 weeks in America and touring all around America with my partner in like a camper van, going to all the theme parks and just doing all crazy stuff like that, going to like Yosemite. And it was just like a sick time. But I couldn't listen to trance. I was so resentful for the fact that I couldn't make it, just because I just couldn't get that pro sound. But at the time, I was just so focused on making one track. I just wanted to make. I had this mindset that I must get this track professional, and if I don't, then I'm not going to get where I need to be. And 2 people in the scene I can credit to me really breaking through: Alan Morrow and Paul Todd. And I'm not sure if you know Paul or Alan, but they're both great producers and great guys. And they're the guys that got me back into it. And I remember I was going to a theme park and it was right sunny. I was like 25 or something, buzzing in America, never been to America, going to this theme park, and the sun was out. And I've not listened to trance in months, but I wanted to, but I didn't want to at the same time because I was so jealous and envious, and I had so much resentment to the genre because I wanted it so bad, but I just couldn't get it. And anyway, I put a John O'Callaghan set on from Cream in Ibiza, and I think I was probably at that event, and it sparked this buzz. And I remember like getting back onto Facebook, and at that time I'd kind of not cut off, but I'd stopped speaking to a lot of these people because they're very negative and bitchy, and like I said, just not a good environment to be around. And the only 2 people I spoke to were Alan and Paul, and they both were just like, man, just fucking finish your track. You've been working on it for 3 years, like just fucking finish it. And I remember when I got back to a hotel that day, I opened up my laptop and I ended up finishing Napalm Poet. And something happened, like just this magical kind of thing happened where everything accumulated, and I guess I'd been producing long enough, and because I'd been working on this one track for 3 years, and I'd been at university, so I did 5 hours a week at university, and then I spent 60 hours a week making trance. So I put a lot of time into it. So 5 hours is probably 5 years is probably more like 7 or 8 for the average person. And anyway, it all just clicked. Like the track wasn't good enough, but I moved on because I knew it wasn't good enough. I had enough understanding by then, and kind of I was realistic enough, and I wasn't delusional to think that that track was right. So I moved on. But the next track I made, bullet in the gun. No revisions, just made it. Got it sent out. Ended up getting some help from Adam White, who did then make some revisions. Okay, because Paul Oakenfold wanted to play it out, and he wanted the new vocals on it, so it had some new vocals sang on it. That track blew up in the trance scene, like literally overnight. Took me from someone who was just kind of, you know, a producer in the trance scene that's known in the local producer circuit on Facebook. I don't think Instagram was a thing back then. And yeah, and it blew me up overnight in the UK scene. And then I went back, and the next track I made was Napalm Poet, and that got signed to Carnage, and then that blew me up in the worldwide scene. But if it wasn't from feedback from these two guys, also another guy as well called Bluff Monkey, I forgot about for Jeff, he's a legend. But yeah, Bluff Monkey as well. So I had 3 guys, and they all could make really good fucking music. So I knew that feedback could be trusted. I knew they were good people, so I knew there weren't going to be any of that bullshit about, you know, being jealous or anything like that. And no matter what happens, or to me in my career, like those people were always there to give me that feedback. And even when I broke through, I still relied on them people for feedback. It took me 3 extra years to get to the point where I didn't rely on feedback. So it took me 8 years. Bearing in mind, I did 3 years at university, putting at least 60 hours a week into production. So if you do the maths, like, I would imagine that's probably like, I don't know, like 10 years for most people. But anyway, it took me 8 years. But feedback from the right people is what helped me achieve my goals and my dreams. And I implore you to find them key people that you can trust. So yeah, that's my little journey onto how I made it and how I broke through. Obviously, yeah, it's nice remembering them times. I don't want to be negative, but things were almost a little bit easier back then. Because you know when you've achieved something, you've got it. But it's like the chase is over. Like, you know what I mean? So it's interesting talking about it. It's bringing up a lot of kind of like emotions almost. Not necessarily like I'm going to burst out crying, but yeah, reminiscing about them times. And yeah, what I'll say is enjoy it. You know, while you're at this stage, if I'm talking to you and you're sat there and you're in a similar position to where I was, enjoy them moments because they're precious. And once you get that pro sound, of course, new emotions are going to come, and you know, it's going to be incredible. But looking back, like, almost the chase was in some way more rewarding than actually achieving it in some weird way. So yeah, that's my journey, and we'll move on to the next section. Handling negative feedback like a pro, my next steps. So yeah, how do you handle feedback the right way? Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because I want to talk about the fact that as producers, we know what trance music sounds like. When I started making music, I had been listening to trance for 2 years. As a musical kind of guy playing the guitar, I knew what a professional track sounded like. But for some reason, myself and everyone else that starts to make music, you kind of put the blinkers on your own music. Like, why is it that you send your tracks out, or most people send the tracks out and say, you know, is it good enough? Like, and then are disappointed when it's not good enough. When all you have to do is put your track next to a pro track, and it's obvious and evident that it's not good enough. But for some reason, as producers, we do kind of get these blinkers on when we can't kind of analyze our own tracks. And I don't understand why. I've tried to understand for many years now. 10 years I've tried to understand it, because as a tutor I have to talk about this stuff, and I've told this story a million times. I don't know why you can't see it yourself. I'd love to know if there's people out there that are like, right, I've made this track, and yep, I know exactly where I'm at, and I know what step I need to get to that next level. Like, that'd be awesome, man. Maybe there are some people out there like that who've got different brains and different mindsets and stuff like that. We've all obviously got different brains. But yeah, So yeah, how to handle feedback like a pro. There's no other way of saying it. You just need to have a fucking, you need to have a thick skin. Like, I'm an emotional guy, like, and I don't have any problems admitting that. Like, I'm not some stern, tough, hard guy, who's like stoic or whatever. I say what I think, good or bad. Sometimes it is good. It can be good for me. Sometimes it can be bad for me. But it is what it is. I am who I am, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. Hence, me doing these videos. Like, I think it's quite a unique perspective from someone who's, like I said, been there and done it all in the trance scene. But yeah, you just got to fucking man up. If someone tells you your track's not good enough, so fucking what? Okay, so what? Go and make it better. Don't give up. Be resilient. The people that make it are the ones that are tough and, they've got a mindset. Ultimately, I made it not because I'm tough or anything like that. I've just said you've got to be tough, but you've got to be mentally tough. How badly do you want it? It comes down to that. Like, in the gym, I give up on the sets all the time because I don't want muscle in badly enough to fucking go through the pain of going to failure. Like, fuck that. No chance. I'm happy to just do 12 hard reps. I ain't going to failure because fuck that. Like, it's not worth it for me. I ain't got the mental capacity to do that. I'm not mentally tough enough. But I am mentally tough enough to achieve my dream of producing professional trance music. And I'm so proud of that. So it's just like, how badly do you want it? I've got people like approach me all the time. And one of the things I ask them is, how much time a month do you put into it? And the answers vary. Like, but you get out what you put in. So if someone comes to me and says, look, I'm probably doing like, an hour a week, I'll probably say to him, look, realistically, you can sign up, but an hour a week, you're not going to achieve anything in an hour a week. So if their goal is to become a professional producer in a year, the course is no good for them. If they just want to have a bit of fun, they just want to learn stuff, of course, I'll sign them up. And I do it all the time. There's plenty of people in my course that have got no interest in signing music. But you've just got to be mentally tough. And, so back to the, how... Let's just read again. Handling negative feedback like a pro. Right. Steps to grow and move forward. So handling negative feedback like a pro. So let's say a label gives you negative feedback. How do you handle it professionally? You reply to them and say, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I'll work on it. And, you'll hear back from me soon. And you go and do just that. What you don't do is send them an email back, which I've seen a lot because I used to run a label. I say, why? Well, everyone else has told me it's good. My mate Dave down the pub, he's told me it's fucking sound. Why not? And trust me, that shit happens. So handle it like a fucking pro. Next, steps to grow and move forward. Well, what you do is, something I didn't mention is handle it like a pro. So you handle it like a pro. Thanks very much. Really appreciate the feedback. I'm going to work on that. But then add in, do you mind if you give me some feedback on what area that you feel I need to work on? Ask for feedback. If you don't ask, you don't get. And there's nothing wrong with asking. So yeah, make sure that you handle feedback like a pro. Be polite, reply, ask for some feedback. Don't be a fucking dick. And then take the positives from the negatives. So if they come back to you and say, listen, kick and bass are really good, but the percussion is just lacking, rather than walking away thinking, oh fuck, I'm never gonna make it, like my percussion's fucking shit, walk away and think, sick, kick and bass nailed. Let's knuckle down, go on to YouTube and let's look at some tuition on percussion, free YouTube videos, and that's it. So, that's how I'm looking at my phone because I'm just wanting to like make sure I get this right. But yeah, handling negative feedback like a pro, yeah, that's it. In terms of handling feedback from your friends and stuff like that, if they give you negative feedback, well, it's happened to me before. I remember sending feedback to my friend, and my friend has got absolutely fucking no clue about trance music. I don't know why I asked him for feedback. I shouldn't have done it because I came away like laughing. I weren't upset or mad, but I was just laughing because one of the funny things he said that the structure and the arrangement was no good. He said it just felt like crap. Well, by now you guys should know that I have a method of how I make music. It's a methodical method that works for me. It gets the best of me. It's just the way my mind works. ADHD central. I have to have a plan. Can't just go willy-nilly and make a track. And anyway, I use a structure, so I use a reference track, and the reference track I chose for that track was Wayo's remix of Smack, which was by far the biggest track of like the last 2 or 3, no, not the last 2 or 3 years. When it was out, it was like the biggest track for like 2 or 3 years. You know, Beatport #1 for like months and months. So the fact that he told me that the arrangement was basically shit, in essentially that's what he was saying in a roundabout way, it made me laugh, and that just reaffirms like, why did I ask? What did I expect? Sent my mates my track. What the fuck did I expect? Like, it was one or the other, isn't it? They're gonna all say how good it is without even, you know, they're gonna say how good it is, which means nothing because they're just saying it for the sake of it, or they're gonna give you a load of fucking feedback that makes you feel like shit or bemuses you because they ain't got a clue what they're talking about. So we're just going back to the start of, you know, who to trust for feedback. So anyway, that's my opinion on feedback. I hope it's been an informative video. This is one of the these opinion pieces, I get worried. I'm going to post it, but I do worry like I'm going to piss people off. But fuck it, you know, you can't make everyone happy. The last opinion piece, I was so close. In fact, I actually deleted it. I woke up one night, you know, like a bit of a panic, thinking, oh God, you know, I don't want to upset anyone. Like, and I deleted it and off YouTube. And anyway, the next day I woke up and I was like, oh fuck it. I got some feedback for some people I work with on my course. And they were like, no way, man. Like, one guy analysed it. Like, he went through, he's like, right, smart guy. And he was like, right, this section emulates, this section like talks about this and will help people in this way. This section will resonate with people because of that. And he kind of convinced me to post it. And yeah, I'm gonna do the same with this, because it's like I said, it's an interesting perspective. If you made it this far, how long has it been? 30 minutes of me banging on about feedback. If you made it this far, fair play. On that, I'm going to be announcing something really special soon where you can win some extensive feedback with me. So a little bit of a teaser there, but yeah, something special's coming soon. I'll give you a little hint. It's going to be a remix competition, and it's going to be 3 winners, and studio days and feedback are going to be involved, and that's all I'll say for now. But yeah, as always, if you're interested in my one-to-one tuition and you want to know more about how I teach, my methods, and you want to get feedback from someone, you know, who you can trust and who's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, you can drop me a line. If you've got any feedback requests, I'm happy to listen to your tracks with zero agenda. I don't message you back some kind of program and say, you know, sign up or anything like that. I'm happy to help you and just say, look, this is the feedback. And then if clients then say, you know, tell me more about your course, then of course, then I always reply with that, just being upfront and honest. But yeah, if you're interested in getting just some honest feedback, just send me a SoundCloud link, tutorials@adamsdj.com, and I will listen to your track. It might take a while because I have a lot of feedback to do on a daily basis. But look, if it wasn't people like, look, Simon Patterson messaged me back, and I'm not Simon Patterson, you know, but he messaged me back when I was fucking 21 years old. Give me some feedback on my track, and it helped me out so much. And although I'm no Simon Patterson, you know, I'd like to think that I can help you out too. So feel free to drop me a SoundCloud link. And yeah, we're not going to give away a free lesson on this one because, like I said, I've got something really special coming up, and it's going to blow that out of the water. So anyway, thank you for watching. And the next opinion piece will be on Beatport. But if you'd like to request any other opinion pieces, and you just want an honest opinion from someone who's been there, done it, seen it all to a certain level, of course, and you want my opinion on that, and you think it could benefit the community, let me know. And yeah, I hope you liked the video. And if you've got any suggestions and you feel like maybe I should like tone some things down or whatever, you know, send them over. And feel free to I'm happy to have a listen to your opinion. I might disagree, but listen, if you look, I'm open to feedback. Give me some feedback. You know, I want to make this YouTube channel really special. I want it to stand out. I want it to grow, and not for monetary reasons. This YouTube channel is never going to make money. I want it to grow for 2 reasons, and I'll be honest with you. 1, because it helps my business and it helps me do what I do, which is make music for a living. Just being straight up, of course, it's a promotional tool, but I genuinely get so much joy and happiness. People message me every single week saying, Adam, thank you so much for your tutorials. They've helped me, and that warms my heart, man, because if it wasn't for people helping me when I needed that help, I wouldn't be sat here right now in this massively privileged position of being a full-time music producer and shooter. So Thank you for all your support. Please like the video and subscribe. And yeah, if you want feedback, email me. If you want information about my mastering service, my lessons, drop me a line. And if you've got any feedback about the channel and how I can maybe make it better, or some videos I can do, feel free to drop me a line. So just try to do a week then. Probably look shit. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.